What is going on, you guys? MissedThePart here, back again with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over if I had written MCU's Spider-Man 4. Now, I want to give a massive shout out to IQ Scorpion. Thank you so much. He is a watcher of the multiverse, channel member. And again, I do want to give a massive shout out to you, Scorpion, because it was fun working with you on this storyline. Big shout out to IQ Scorpion for becoming a channel member, helping with the story. It's absolutely incredible, and I can't thank everybody, I can't thank you enough. It really means a lot to me that you guys are coming in here and just being very interested with the videos and requesting, coming on the live streams, becoming channel members, even just clicking that subscribe button and liking the videos and commenting. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you for taking the time to be interested in what we're doing here on the channel. Now, I've already done a if I had written MCU Spider-Man 4, but this is an updated one. And I think it's overdue because the previous one I did was like 2 years ago. So again, if you guys would like to have this experience by working with me, I would highly recommend checking out the tiers. So again, thank you guys so much. And let's get into the brand new episode. Rain tapped the rusting AC unit outside Peter Parker's apartment window, filling the silence of a room far too still for someone his age. The place was small, sterile, and suffocating. Walls painted in once white, now yellow tones. A single mattress on the floor, and a desk cluttered with wires, film reels, two halves of a torn Spider-Man mask. Peter stood barefoot by the sink, watching noodles swirl in a dented pot. He hadn't eaten all day, maybe yesterday too. His eyes were sunken in, not from illness, but from the absence of being known. It's been a long time. He's had no contact, no Happy, no May, no Mary Jane. Just the suit, the silence, and the truth, that no one would ever even know what he'd sacrificed. He slung his backpack over his shoulder, zipping it halfway to tuck in the latest roll of developed film, street crime, stolen purses, Fisk thugs shaking down owners, all grainy, all precise, all shot by Spider-Man. He left the suit folded under the floorboards. It was his best work yet. The suit was inspired by not Stark Tech, but by the other Spider-Man that he hung around with. No AI, no voice, it was just him. The Spider-Man that bleeds. Empire State University, 9:12 a.m. Peter slipped into his seat at the back of an overcrowded lecture hall. The professor droned on about subatomic frequency overlap and quantum polymeters. Peter's head hung low as he scribbled in the margins of his notebook, doodles of spider symbols, numbers, and scattered names. One stood out, MJ, and he paused, circled it. Why that phrase had come back to him, he didn't know. But it felt true, like deja vu wearing a familiar perfume. After class, Peter found himself wandering the quad. There, sitting under a statue, legs crossed, reading a book on forensic neurochemistry, Charlie Cooper, brown jacket, sharp gaze. No nonsense energy. Parker, right? She said without looking up. Yeah, Peter. She nodded. You left half your notes on the lab floor yesterday. You always do that, or just on Thursdays? Peter smiled. Thursdays are special. Charlie crackled a grin. Lucky me. They walked together for the first time in a long time. He didn't feel invisible. Daily Bugle, Midtown office. Lights hummed like wasps overhead. Peter dropped an envelope of photos onto an intern's desk and sipped cheap coffee while waiting for the inevitable shouting. J. Jonah Jameson burst out of his office, eyes bloodshot, hair shriveled, shouting mid-rant about this menace with 8 legs and no permit. Peter kept his head down. Jonah snatched the envelope, slid the prints out, and grunted. Still no face. You keep photographing shadows like you're afraid of commitment. Peter smiled faintly. Better to be safe. Jonah turned back to the intern. But these on page 3. Then get me someone who knows what a lens cap is. From across the room, Betty Brant watched Peter. Something about him pulled at her. She chewed the cap off her pen and said, without knowing why, "You used to smile more." Peter blinked. Did I? Wilson Fisk's mayor's office. Dark suits, darker secrets. Wilson Fisk stared at a surveillance feed on his tablet. Spider-Man zipping across a rooftop. His jaw tightened. Jameson sat across from him, tapping a pen furiously. We need action. Public trust is down. People want accountability. Fisk nodded. You said someone takes those photos. A kid? Jameson grumbled. Peter Parker. Ghost. Only appears when Spider-Man's in the shot. Suspicious as hell. Fisk smiled faintly. Then let's follow the ghost. He tapped his screen. Mac Gargan's file appeared. Paroled. Dangerous. Angry. Perfect. A note-script black van sat outside Peter's apartment that night. Inside, monitors hummed softly. Mac Gargan sat hunched forward, face half-shadowed, watching as Parker walked alone into the corner. Gargan's jaw clenched. His eyes twitched. He didn't know why yet. Kid bugged him. Something about the way that he moved, the reflexes, the silence. Gargan's eyes flickered to a grainy still of MJ working a coffee counter. Months earlier, his memory shifted, glitched. He remembered something. A rooftop, a red suit, a name, but then it vanished. Gargan growled and tapped the screen. Let's find out what secrets you're hiding, Parker. Later that evening, Peter visited a corner cafe near campus. As he walked in, his fingers tingled, the kind of tingle that he hadn't felt since, well, before the spell. He turned, and standing by the coffee machine was MJ. She didn't look up right away, but when she did, their eyes locked. Something sparked. Time slowed. The world quieted. She tilted her head. Can I get you anything? Peter swallowed. Yeah, coffee, just black. She nodded, wrote it on a pad, but her pen slowed. She glanced at him again. Her eyes narrowed. You look familiar. Peter froze. She blinked and shook her head. Sorry. Long day. Peter nodded, forced a smile, took his coffee, and left. She watched him go. And for a moment, just a heartbeat, she whispered to herself, Peter. In an underground Oscorp lab, repurposed through a shell company funded by Fisk, Dr. Farley Stillwell stood over Gargan, injecting a neon green serum into his spine. Gargan grunted, sweat coated his skin, veins pulsed. I feel fire. Stillwell didn't look up. You'll feel more comfortable soon. In the next room, a high-tech scorpion exosuit stood sealed in glass, complete with a segmented mechanical tail, reinforced armored plates, and biosensory targeting built off of an old Jatari salvaged AI. Gargan staggered towards it. Against Stillwell's warning, he opened the casing and stepped inside. The tail twitched once, then struck him in the back. His scream echoed through the steel walls. Visions poured in. The spell, the memories, Spider-Man's face, Peter Parker. He took my life. Now I take his. Peter returns home, alone again. He sets the coffee cup on his windsill and pulls the suit from beneath the floorboards. His fingers trace the webbing. A pulse. His head spins. A flash. MJ crying. Ned screaming. You didn't have to forget us. He snaps back. He doesn't cry, but he shakes. Outside in the darkness, a figure clings to a rooftop wall, tail swaying behind him like a predator watching its prey. Scorpion smiles. The sky cracked open over Manhattan as a summer storm rolled in, thunder grumbling like the city itself was groaning beneath the weight of things better left buried. Peter Parker's hands shook as he stripped a rip in the side of his suit. He sat on the floor of his apartment, barely lit by the amber buzz of a broken desk lamp. On the table beside him were 3 items. A blood-stained photograph of MJ and Ned from Midtown High School. A crumpled sticky note that read, Oscorp internship fair. Harry wants you to come. A coffee receipt with MJ scribbled at the bottom. Peter hadn't kept them. They just appeared. He stared at the photograph. He wasn't in it, but he remembered the day it was taken. Something was breaking. Meanwhile, Midtown street level. Scorpion emerged into the public eye for the first time. Tail slashing, armor hissing with each breath. His suit was sleeker now, warped from damage. The metal plates blackened like a beetle's shell, dripping with trace chemicals that steamed on contact with the air. He didn't announce himself. He just ripped through a police cruiser on 47th Street and dragged a Fisk contractor out of the passenger seat. Tell him, Gargan growled, tail poised to strike. Spider-Man's ghost is coming for him. He let the man live. Just enough to talk. Just enough to start the chaos. At the Daily Bugle, Betty stared at her screen. The headlines didn't make any sense. A new vigilante, a new monster, a man with a tail. Then she saw it, buried in the footage. A blurred frame of Spider-Man mid-swing, but his mask was torn. And just for a second, less than a blink, she saw Peter's face. Her breath caught. A single tear ran down her cheek. She didn't know why, but she remembered a kiss. A rooftop? Maybe a voice? You're braver than you think, Betty. She gasped and ran to the bathroom, locking the door, shaking. The spell wasn't holding. Gargan hit NYU first. A professor who'd once taught Peter and vaguely recalled the name Parker got thrown through a lecture hall window. Then he hit MIT. MJ, walking home from the library, felt a pull in her stomach. That spidey sense she never had but used to trust in him. She ducked, just in time. The tail slammed into the ground, inches from her head. Scorpion stepped out of the shadows. No monologue, no warning. You forgot him, but I didn't. Now, I make sure you don't live long enough to remember him again. MJ ran, screamed. The campus lit up with chaos. Students scattered. She ducked into a side alley. And just before the tail struck again, a red blur smashed Gargan into a dumpster. Spider-Man stood between them. You're done. You're late, Scorpion hissed. The fight that followed was raw. Less dance, more cage match. Peter got slammed through a stairwell. The tail cut across his shoulder. Sparks flew from the campus generator. Students filmed on their phones while security lights flickered. And then it happened. As Scorpion pinned Peter, tail inches from his throat, MJ, watching from behind a car, screamed, Peter. Both men froze. Scorpion's eyes widened in recognition. Peter's heart broke. Back at Oscorp, Charlie Cooper hacked her way into the underground research logs. She found a buried file. Project Reverb. Reality extraction via variant bio memory. The log included research linking neural mapping to multiversal trauma signatures. The spell, the bleed. Oscorp wasn't just enhancing criminals, they were weaponizing memory. She copied the file, just as the door blew open. Fisk's men. She ran, barely escaped through an old utility duct, and made the call. Peter, they're using your past, weaponizing the spell. Scorpion, he's not the end, he's the test run. Peter didn't answer. He was holding MJ's hand, and she remembered him. Back in his apartment, Peter barely spoke. MJ paced the room, quiet, watching him wrap gauze around his ribs. She finally said it. Why didn't you come back for me? Peter didn't look up. Because I wanted you safe and happy. I wasn't either, she whispered. She reached into her bag and pulled out a notebook. Inside, a page she didn't remember writing. Peter, cafe, physics. She handed it to him. I think I always knew. Peter met Ned in a park. No crowds, no cameras, just two kids on a bench. Ned stared at him, silent, then opened his hand. Inside, a Lego Death Star piece cracked. I found this in my old stuff. I don't know what it meant. Then tears. And then I dreamed about it. You, me, the lab, MJ, the portal, all of it. Peter nodded. It wasn't a dream. The next day, Peter returned home to find his apartment door shattered. Inside, scorched walls, torn furniture, of melted writing. Charlie's NYPD ID badge covered in blood. And next to it, carved into the wall with a tale. One choice, two lives, come to Oscorp. Peter stood on a rooftop in the rain. The city below was quiet, like it was holding its breath. MJ stepped beside him. You're not alone. He looked at her, eyes full of pain. You remember me now. That means he'll come for you. Then we fight. Together. Behind them, Ned climbed up, holding something. Wrapped in a towel. He unwrapped it. Peter's old web shooters. I rebuilt them. Guess I was always meant to. Peter took them, then looked down at the city, at the Oscorp tower. The lightning cracked. The score swelled. Spider-Man stepped off the ledge and dropped into the storm. Oscorp Tower loomed like a black blade against the storm-lit sky, its blinking lights pulsing like a heartbeat. Thunder roared above Manhattan as the rooftop helipad cracked with broken wires and shattered glass. Peter arrived with the wind at his back, rained down with the fabric of his suit, now fully repaired, reshaped, glittering with navy blue and red streaks, the lenses glowing faintly in the dark, a lone shadow in a city that once forgot him. As he stepped onto the rooftop, Scorpion emerged from the shadows, dragging something behind him. Peter froze. Charlie Cooper, bruised, gagged, suspended by thick wires from a steel crane, arms bound. Her eyes met his. She wasn't scared. She was angry. And then on the other side of the rooftop, MJ, bound the same way, soaked from the rain, her lip bleeding, her expression unreadable. Scorpion circled the roof like a hunter in a cage. The tail hissed. The suit clicked. His voice trembled, not with rage, but with a stay. Pick your past, or your present, but you don't get both. Peter's fists tightened. Let them go. Scorpion growled. I died for you. Not my body, my mind. You took it all. And then you let the world forget me. No one chose to forget you. You did, Gargan hissed. With your spell, your silence. I remember everything. And so do they. Suddenly, Charlie began to speak, through bloodied lips. Don't let him win. Don't forget why you fight. She carved something into the crane with the tip of a shattered ring. Peter squinted, a weak point in the hydraulics. She'd left him a path. Peter stepped forward, heart pounding. Scorpion raised his tail, Last chance, 1 drop, 2 lives, and the tail slashed down. Peter moved like lightning, webs fired in twin streams, 1 to MJ, 1 to Charlie, anchoring their cages. He swung into the tail's path mid-strike, taking the blunt across his back. He screamed, but he didn't fall. With a second web line, he launched upward and kicked Scorpion across the helipad. The rooftop exploded into motion, claws slashing, tail stabbing, glass and steel flying. The rain made it feel biblical. Peter was exhausted, bruised, and bleeding, but he kept going up, because that's who he is. Scorpion smashed Peter into a generator. Sparks flared. He hissed, stepping over him. You think you're special. You think pain makes you pure. No, Peter wheezed, spitting blood. Pain just makes me honest. Peter pulled Charlie's Fornisk note from his belt. The schematic of the suit's flaw. Your tail can't vent under pressure. He jammed the note into Scorpion's chest. Let's give it a little heat. Peter web yanked the sparking generator line and rammed it into the back of Scorpion's armor. Boom! The tail exploded. Sparks tore through the armor. Gargan screamed as the neural inner surface backfired, knocking him out cold. The rain hissed again, the smoking suit. Peter collapsed to one knee, gasping. Charlie dangled behind him, unconscious. MJ was crying, whispering his name. Later, on the sidewalk outside the Oscorp building, Peter sat in the back of an ambulance, eyes blank. MJ sat beside him, quiet, holding his hand. I'm not the same person you knew, Peter said. Neither am I, MJ replied. But I remember you. That has to mean something. Ned arrived with Betty, who was shaken from the shock. She looked at Peter and broke into tears. You were always Spider-Man, weren't you? Peter looked down. I was always just me. On the newscast that night, J. Jonah Jameson called Spider-Man a violent vigilante who caused the Oscorp incident. He admitted that the monster was funded by Fisk. He admitted that the spell was crumbling. He said the city should never have trusted a mask. Peter watched the broadcast from the alley behind his apartment. Charlie stood behind him. You saved them. You saved me. Doesn't matter what he says. Maybe not, Peter replied. But I'm getting real tired of being the villain. That night, Peter visits MIT. He walks across, sees students laughing, walking together. He sees MJ and Ned at the bench. They wave. They remember him. He walks away. Mac Gargan, locked in a private black site prison, slides open the food slot, drops in a folder. From the mayor's office, the guard says. Inside, a document titled, Sinister 6, Phase 1. A voice speaks from the shadows. We're building something. Something permanent. Something they won't forget. Kingpin steps into view. MIT Library. MJ looked up from her textbook. A red-haired girl sits across from her. Freckles, calm eyes. Do I know you? MJ asks. The girl smiles faintly. Not yet, but I remember you. Her eyes glow faintly, with firelight. It is Jean Grey. Now that is going to be it for If I Had Written MCU's Spider-Man 4. Now, what did you think of the video? What did you think of Mac Gargan being the main villain, and also having Wilson Fisk as the mayor? It would have been very interesting to see. I'm honestly very excited for when the Spider-Man 4 Brand New Day comes out. So me pre-writing this and doing a pre-write, it's going to be crazy to see. I'm very excited to kind of take this story and see what the actual story is, and that'll be about a year from now. So would you guys like to see If I Had Written MCU's Spider-Man 5 or Spider-Man 6? Because now that we've written Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think it's only fair that we maybe do a continuation of the college trilogy. But that being said, my fellow watchers of the multiverse, thank you guys so much for tuning in today's video. Do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content. I do want to give a massive shout out to the YouTube Shorts page. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the YouTube Shorts, I would highly recommend that you do that, because I am in the YouTube Shorts videos and we're taking some of the live streams, some of the requests, and actually doing like a food for thought video with them. So again, check out the YouTube Shorts page. It's free. It's more MissedThePart content, and you never know what videos might be lurking in the future. But again, thank you guys so very much. IQ Scorpion, thank you for working with me on this video. And I do want to say thank you everybody who's been a Patreon member, a YouTube member, and just a supporter here. Like, even just commenting, it's crazy. So again, thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, and have a wonderful day. Peace out.